are live.
As I'm busy, tweeting out the link, I'm just putting together topics that I know I'm going to bring up, and probably you will bring up in the show as well. Tweeting out to all the people in the so welcome to hello.
Welcome to the
greetings.
Alchemy Bench. As you can see, it's just me and Geek flying the show today.
Right now, as we're
for the moment, we'll see.
Isaiah, I imagine will join us a bit later, unless he's after the C-Chat Patreon hangout that happened this morning, he had to leave to go to work or something like that. I know that feeling.
So he might phone in, yeah.
Yeah, I have to go to work later today, and unfortunately, I just remembered I got a couple burritos in the oven, so I'll be right back. I'm sorry, John Brockman, you're going to have to fly the show totally solo like you did for the first 30 minutes. So I'll be right back, everyone.
All right. So here's a dang it. Here's a question: how do we as anarchists feel about graffiti tagging? Personally, I'm in favor of it. Play the new Pokemon. That's an even better question, Joe. Engage with the chat or play the new Pokemon game while listening. I think you could do both. You could definitely do both. You just wouldn't, necessarily be doing great at either. Hey, Jordan. Let's see. We have the political compass test we did for the Democrats up there. Maybe we should do one for the we don't need to do one for the Republicans. We know they're in the far up right-hand corner. So let's see. Let's bring up a different meme. How do you feel about graffiti? Oh, you don't have your headphones in. Now you have your headphones in. How do you feel about graffiti? Anarchist tagging.
Graffiti? Nothing wrong with that. That's what we're it's a good adjunct prop, as it were. So is that why MCU is Copaganda, because they're anti-graffiti?
No, that was just because I decided to go do and just rewatch all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe starting from Iron Man. I'm currently on Iron Man 3.
Hey, Joey.
How's it going?
7.
Tired. 4 hours of sleep. It's my own fault, because I was up until 3 a.m. last night playing golf with your friends with Economicon. And I still need to tweet out the link, and Spotify drops Neil Young.
Yes, and a whole lot of people dropped Spotify.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Joni Mitchell also pulled her music, and I think there was a list of people. Most of them were older artists, but I mean,
yeah.
So if Taylor Swift dropped Spotify, I think Spotify would drop Joe Rogan.
That would be big. It has to be a bigger start than a Joe Rogan, or more bigger money makers, someone more clout than Joe Rogan to be dropped.
If Disney pulled out.
Yeah, Disney, yeah, or any of the major record labels, honestly, would be one thing. Because so for those of you know, it's because Spotify paid millions and millions of dollars to Joe Rogan to have the Joe Rogan show, the Joe Rogan Experience, be exclusively on Spotify, as it were. So they were champion and platforming Joe Rogan, who has always been a perfect funnel to the far right and the alt right, as it were, because he's always bringing on all those people. Yes, he just
had a conversation with Jordan Peterson.
Oh, where they were casually racist too as well.
Yeah, they were debating on what is black, who's black, and claimed that they are not white. Because they are
what?
They're a pale tan.
Yes.
So, oh God.
Yes.
That's what they're going with. I'm not white. I'm kind of pinkish pan.
and that's in the same hour or so conversation where Jordan Peterson, who's possibly a professor, I think he was actually dropped from his university.
He withdrew. He quit.
He quit. It's
my guess is that there was a sexual harassment claim coming up against him, and he wanted to get out from that as quick as possible. I don't know. I can't say that for certain, but it would not surprise me to learn that a misogynist, racist, transphobic, homophobic piece of shit like that had also, abused his authority in the same way that, what's his name? Another famous anti-woke dipshit, philosophy professor.
Peter Boghossian.
Peter Boghossian, yes. Although it should be pronounced Bogosian because
okay.
it's Armenian. But he doesn't pronounce it that way, so I pronounce it correctly because fuck him.
Jamie J actually went to Portland State University, which is where the university that Peter Bogosian actually taught at, as well. Taught philosophy too.
Before he once again quit.
Yes, exactly.
But not because of sexual harassment things, even though it was well known he was sleeping with his students.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was well known. He had a cot next to in his office or next to his like a desk, as it were, and so in case like he needs to spend the night there, with like TAs and students, and it's just like you are crossing lines there. It's like it somehow seems like be consensual because like there hasn't been like a list of women coming forward yet. But yet. But as we were mentioning, like, yeah, I agree. Like, Phoenix, as we're fuck Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
He chose to shave his head, though. He probably is balding in places, but he chose to shave his head, and that's his look, as it were. Mm-hmm. But in that same conversation where they were going on about like how what is really black, I can't. Why did the jizz? Oh, but yet in the conversation, Jordan Peterson is like, "What is all this like climate? Climate is like everything."
PJW, is that Paul Joseph Watson?
Paul Joseph Watson, yes, like Paul Joseph.
I'm trying
Watson
to remember who that one is.
Yeah.
Oh, so imagine my shock.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, that guy, as it were.
Oh man, I haven't heard about him in a long time. He is really flown under the radar.
Yeah.
Is that because of Alex Jones going under?
Probably.
Was he part of the thing? Yeah.
Yeah, he was like Paul Joseph Watson always like would like fly over to like Texas every now and then, and even though he's from Sheffield, and he like did appear on like Alex Jones' show all the time. So like when Alex Jones says like I just got the facts right out here from the like telephone lines that the Las Vegas shooter is an FBI informant, I just got the facts right here, and even PJW is like, I'm not sure about that, Alex.
It's pretty sad when you have to rely on frequent appearances on Alex Jones to look more credible compared to Alex Jones.
Mm-hmm. I just realized I still have not tweeted out, as it were, our share to my Facebook, so I'm finally going to do that and do that to all the things on the webs and the tubes and the Discords and Facebook. You're so terrible because you're not allowing me to be able to post anything on Facebook. Am I banned or something? I got like the thing, is the word. I don't think so.
Does it say you've been banned?
No.
Like when you try to post, because when I get my 30-day bans, they always tell me every time I try to like something or make a friend.
Maybe it has, because I tried. Did I not post anything? Maybe I can't post anything as we're.
I haven't gotten any notifications that you posted something, and usually it would give me a notification.
All right, so I'm gonna do this from Facebook, or maybe my web page here is like terrible, so I'm going to just do that instead. Post it there and see if it works as well. Like, that seemed to work, I guess. Weird. I don't know. Something's. I gotta actually look into something and see if it is. I bet I can post on my phone and it'll be just fine. But yeah. So. Where were they going? Yeah, Spotify. The Spotify platforms and pays big money to Joe Rogan to promote for his show and something like that. And because Joe Rogan has been spreading misinformation about COVID-19 as well as horrible things, but the biggest ones recently spreading misinformation on COVID-19. Neil Young has decided to hey, Spotify can have Joe Rogan or Neil Young, not both. And Spotify chose Joe Rogan, and so that's the latest things about that sort of thing. Yeah, but other artists drop it now. To be fair as well, Neil Young was probably not getting much money off of Spotify, because I heard it's after 400 listens on Spotify.
Well, yeah, but nobody gets that much money on Spotify with their music. Spotify pays them shit.
Yeah, it does.
And also, it's Neil Young. He's already made his money.
No, true. Neil Young is already made.
Yeah.
You banned yourself from Facebook. Yeah, that makes sense. So now I need to continue to like sharing the show around to all of the discords as it were.
And by the way, I'm gonna start having a basically 1 hour and a half time limit on these things because I joined a new gym, a better gym, and they're only open half a day on Sundays. They close at 5. So in order to have enough time for a good workout, I'm gonna have to get out of here at like a reasonable time.
Yeah, the hour and a half. That's fine. I need to look.
So no more 3-hour shows for us.
No more 3-hour shows. So let's try to like. I do actually agree. Phoenix Neil Young is like valid as fuck.
It has always been the case because, as we well know, a Southern man don't need him around anyhow. Because the Southern man is a white supremacist.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, until proven otherwise. Neil Young was part of the trio, and
Crosby, Mills, Stash, and Young.
Stills, Nash, and Young. Yeah, because there were originally those 3 were part of a band before that, but there was like a disagreement on like something, and which is why they split up and caused like Crosby, Steele, and Young. I gotta like go back and listen to those music because like I'm sure there's like great things there that like I'm not misremembering. Like
there's some excellent political music out of that era.
Yeah, because like wasn't like a Neil Young part of a group that did like a song about like the Kent State shooting, as it were?
I think he did.
Oh, he's Canadian. No wonder. Let's see. According to Wikipedia, part-time member of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and a lot of awards. He's also a film director of stuff I've never heard of.
That's cool.
Oh wait. Oh no. And he did. I did hear Philadelphia, but he didn't direct that one. He did soundtrack for that.
Oh, okay. That's that would be something if he directed Philadelphia, but no, it makes sense that like he contributed music to that movie. Hearted Gold song. Oh, I gotta like check that out.
I know he made his way up to Standing Rock, and they said that every night he'd sit next to the fire and work on his music, and it was really cool for the people who were there.
That's something.
Just between him and I guess Dave Matthews showed up for a little while too. He did similar, so
that's cool actually.
So activism. Let's see. He's an environmentalist, outspoken advocate for the welfare of small farmers. Co-founded the benefit concert Farm Aid in 1985.
Okay. So as long as it's not known as like bad as Band-Aid, then yeah.
Young has long held that digital audio formats in which most people download music are deeply flawed and do not provide the rich, warm sounds of analog recordings. Okay, Grandpa.
All right, audiophile, sure. Just listen things on vinyl, why don't you?
8-track.
With its genuine mono sound.
Let's see. Still sharing around the Discord as well. So that's what I'm looking at over here on the other screen. And so yeah, so that's what's the latest happening on the Spotify. And yeah, Joe Rogan is still a piece of shit. Screw Joe Rogan and like the rationals that he's a part of. Jordan Peterson's still terrible and still alive. So it's like
both unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
I thought he was a goner when he was he was heading to Russia for his addiction
put into a medically induced coma so that he wouldn't have to deal with withdrawal.
What was he was on? I'm trying to remember.
Benzo.
Okay, yeah. Some of those like medications can really do a number on you, as well. And then there was also his old meat diet. Because according to him, the worst thing that the most he was like put into a coma because of apple cider, all because of like his all meat diet that his daughter encouraged him to like eat. And I gotta agree with like Kevin Logan. It's like, how does he shit if he's on an all meat diet? It's like, how long is he?
Infrequently, painfully, and it's all floaters.
Yeah, it's like I just because it's hard. You don't want to think about that sort of thing, but it's just like when you're eating an all meat diet, it's seriously all meat, no roughage whatsoever. It's just like. I'm just like, how are you maintain your consonants, as it were, or continents? It's just weird. It's weird, and I say that as I'm eating a burrito. And so yes, also in the news is that like the Supreme Court, well, Joe McCord is in chat. Hey Joe. Well, yes, the Supreme Court sucks. It's like. I'm trying to read the McClure's like what he said in chat that they removed the pre-lance, but still is like I'm assuming Southern white people are racist until proven otherwise. Okay, okay, I see. In regards to the earlier comments, but like speaking of the Supreme Court, it still sucks. But like Stephen Breyer finally caved into the peer pressure from the leftists.
Wishing every Stephen Breyer a very happy retire now.
Yes, exactly. That was the thing that we wanted Ruth Bader Ginsburg to do in like 2008, 2009, when the Democrats still had the control of the Senate, as it were. But
she held on because, like every powerful person, she was kind of a maniacal monster.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In any event, let's see. Chuck Schumer has done a weird trick to get the new voting rights bill on the floor of the Senate. It's this weird legislative thing. You know how the House and the Senate have to they have to pass the same version of the bill, basically. Right. So if the bills are even slightly different, technically the bill can't pass and go to the president. So they have this thing where they send it back and forth and they alter and edit it and amend it in order to make sure that they finally end up agreeing on the same version of the bill. And then that goes, that will get sent back to each floor to, get voted on and passed and sent to the president. But the thing is, any sort of bill, can be sent to, by vote, can be sent to a certain subcommittee to die. Yeah. And so that's what Mitch McConnell has been doing to the Voting Rights Act and so on. But there is a bill, just an unimportant thing, like we're going to name something for NASA, name something after Neil Armstrong, or who knows.
Juneteenth becoming a holiday.
Something like that. And so but that has been passed back and forth 3 times. And that's when the Senate rule kicks in. If a thing has been sent back and forth 3 times, then the next time it gets sent over from the House, it goes directly to the floor of the Senate to be voted on. So what they did was they took this NASA thing and they did just Control A, delete, Control V. And they just completely replaced the text of this unimportant bill with the text of the Voting Rights Act and another act that I can't remember what it is. Just to send it directly to the floor so that, Mitch McConnell, he can still filibuster it, but he'll have to do so openly and honestly on the floor of the Senate rather than procedural bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is interesting. They are playing some hardball.
Yeah, yes. At least.
Well, as hardball as they can play without getting rid of the freaking filibuster.
Which they can't do because of fuckers.
Mentions exactly. They voted against, and then the filibuster it was put to a vote, and then they voted against that. So at least they were the only 2 Democratic senators that did that, as opposed to like they were among the 8 Democratic senators that voted against the $15 minimum wage amendment.
We wish all the billionaires and trillionaires a very happy die now.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
once again, not advocating murder. Except in Minecraft. Go ahead, build effigies and destroy them in Minecraft.
Hey, there are some games where you can just totally do a colonialism. That's what the New World game is all about. I swear. Don't forget the Far Cry games as well. That's just colonialism as well.
And Outer Planets? Yeah, that's the one it's called. You're literally part of colonial effort.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Outer Planets, that Outer Worlds, as a word.
Outer Worlds, that's what it is.
Yes, yeah. That RPG was just at least some people who are anti-capitalist that wrote that their RPG too. I heard it was a good game.
It is a little short, a little light on content.
That's what I heard too, as well. That was one of the bigger complaints about it. Where it's just a little light on content. Which some people I don't mind a game where I can finish it, as it were, where it doesn't drag on, as it were. Granted, there are times where it's I love a game that I'm just addicted to. It can play infinitely just because, Stardew Valley, I can go 6 years into that game if I want to, or I just do what I do, just create a new farm because many options of farms that you have. Before I forget, which is an excellent name of a Slipknot song. Back to Stephen Breyer, as it were. It's not going to change. He is finally going to retire, and Biden is going to get a chance to put up a new judge. However, it's not going to change the dynamic of the Supreme Court
because it's 6'3" Howler. Oh no, sorry, 5'4" Howler monkeys, and John Roberts is not one of the Howler monkeys, which says a lot.
Yeah. So it's just going to be now another liberal judge is going to be replaced with a liberal judge. That's all in all. Biden is just going to make a big deal about
it's going to be a conservative centrist.
Yeah.
And they're going to call that conservative centrist a communist.
The right will do that. Yes, exactly.
I wish we could get a communist on the Supreme Court. Be awesome.
To be fair,
shit. That would
be 5 communists on the Supreme Court. Let's be fair.
I mean, I hate the idea of the Supreme Court existing as an institution, though, as it were, or 9 people or just 5 people can decide things, as it were. But we can always increase the size of the Supreme Court. That's what the FDR did. The Democrats don't want to do that, though, because
FDR wanted to. He wasn't allowed to.
I think that it should be increased on principle alone. I mean, just considering the variety of human beings that they're supposed to be representing in perspective, it should be a very large group. I mean, relatively,
it should be a Congress
to what
of
it
the
is
courts.
now. Exactly.
Because sorry.
Chew your food.
I know. I should chew my food. I should take smaller bites too. I'm afraid it's changing before the show, honestly, or not bake burritos. So I know it's going to be out of the oven at the start of the show. Yeah, but so Biden is going to make a big stink about putting the first black woman onto the bench, as were, because there's a black man and Clarence Thomas, though, but he's a right-wing, a Federalist Society,
a far right-wing piece of shit and abuser of women.
Oh yes, that's lovely. But it's
we have Brett Kavanaugh and Black Kavanaugh.
Yeah, exactly. But there's been women on the courts too, and women of color still on the courts as well. But now it's happening, black women on there. Okay, yeah.
You should get a black Muslim. Black Muslim immigrant. A disabled black Muslim immigrant. Disabled black Muslim Jewish immigrant Native American with red hair who sits in a wheelchair and is left-handed. And is
And has a face tattoo just for shits and giggles.
Why not?
She's trans. She's got to be trans and gay. Trans, gay, black, Muslim, Jewish, immigrant, lesbian, Native American, redheaded, left-hand, in a wheelchair. Communist. Wears a choker.
A redheaded indigenous person, which I'm sure they're out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the redheaded.
Well, what I described is very much an international mutt of a person. Mm-hmm. Native American, Jewish, Muslim immigrant. I mean, come on. With all that, I think you could get red hair.
You can't be indigenous and an immigrant if you're from Mexico,
or child of immigrants and Native Americans.
Yeah. Hi, Blank Cunt, how you doing? We're just sitting around rambling on about the different things. But yeah, so
that's what we do every week, Pinky.
Trying to take over the world, yes. So yeah, you mentioned how like you've been like rewatching a lot of the MCU movies and realizing how much propaganda they are as well. It's just like some of the recent ones have some of them are just very much the military propaganda too. I mean, we all saw that coming a mile away from like.
Real quick, does anybody know how to program to overwhelm an email tip line? Because Virginia's new GOP governor set up a tip line to report teachers over critical race theory. So if we just like send an email to them every second, I think we could render that useless. And 5, 4, 3, 2. It's already done, I'm sure.
Oh, Methro, you're accidentally on your daughter's account. Oh, hello. I was like, who is this Blake Hunt? Hello, welcome in. How did you find the show? But it's you, Methro.
Honestly, okay. That name sounds like the setup to a dirty joke.
We're talking about Mithro's daughter, for example, which Mithro's daughter might already be named a dirty joke. That's not a for dirty joke too. It's so.
Do you have a brother named Mike?
Yeah, Mike Hunt is the word. So yeah, the MCU
and a dog named Elk.
Yeah. So how's everyone doing as it were? Because like I'm just a bit tired and I'm now eating as it were. And like John Broccoli, you've been watching a lot of the MCU as well.
It used to be, I think, that the members of the Supreme Court were made up of, the heads of district courts. And they changed that when the U.S. got super big. And those district courts were hearing like 1,000 cases a year, and the Supreme Court needed to hear 5. So what else has happened recently? I'm scrolling through Reddit and I'm not finding any sort of news.
I have some really good news. Speaking of a federal judge, they actually did a good thing. Federal judge in Washington, D.C. has canceled Biden's administration's largest ever offshore drilling lease sale.
That's good.
Yes, they canceled the lease in the Gulf of Mexico. They've ruined that the Biden administration's auction of 80 million acres last year fails to sufficiently account for the climate crisis. It's a major victory for environmentalists who've been fighting the largest sale of offshore oil, at least in the U.S. history. This would have been the largest offshore oil and gas lease ever in American history, or something like that. And Judge is just like, Biden, have you considered climate crisis as word? Didn't you promise on that as a word? Just come on, no, you gotta consider this now it just canceled.
We're all gonna die if these people don't pull their heads out of their asses.
Unfortunately,
technically we're all gonna die either way, but
true, yes.
Well, yeah. Kitty.
These we're all gonna die, at least. We're all gonna die. I know, but I mean soon.
I just don't want there to be a giant extinction event and have it be super difficult for.
There's a dog right there.
Oh, doggo! Hello, kitty.
Puppy.
And yeah, I heard about that. Mithro, the police is are covering up for Alexander Boris the Faithful Johnson, as we're all because of Partygate, where it's when he said these are the laws for COVID-19 lockdown, as where you can't go out, you can't
no big groups, but we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want because fuck you.
They had a party.
Good. Goddamn anti-protest. What the fuck? Hate the far right criminalizing protest.
The Lord's actually not past that. I'm not surprising. The only Lord I would listen to in the UK would be Lord Buckethead, as it were, because he wants to get rid of the House of Lords so that the only Lord would be Lord Buckethead.
All it's really gonna take is some super pissed off, finally snapped leftist to run over a bunch of Proud Boys before they decide that the anti-protest laws are actually a bad idea.
It's like
Pritler. I'm guessing that is like the Tory who's in charge of legislation has a name that starts with, Priti Patel.
Boop you to
Hey,
you too. We're talking about fun stuff as we're like how terrible the UK is, which Metro would always be feel where Metro is always free to like tell us about that. That said he needs to vent about it, I'm sure. They talk about like some of the things of like what the US is doing, how like Neil Young's dropped Spotify's were there was like so there was that news and
a lot of people have quit Spotify as a result of Spotify choosing Rogan over what's his name,
Neil Young. Yep.
They were actually, I saw Hank said something about that they actually stopped people from dropping Spotify because so many people
were overwhelming a certain part of the thing. You can still quit via the website. You just can't quit it through the app, I think is what it was. Because it was breaking their thing. Many people were trying to quit.
I see. So that's the reason that they stopped that, not because of like they didn't want people to stop it, as it were. That does make sense, as it were. Unfortunately, it should be easy to just like quit any services, as it were. I should do that to like the AMC like A-list I signed up for. Yeah, at the time I signed up for it, I was like willing to like see a movie every time that like I get off work, something like that, because I did get off work at a reasonable time because I didn't have that much to do. So that, and I could afford it in a way of like increasing my credit card debt. And so, but I was willing to like go see a movie every week and something like that. But like, I was hoping that they stopped that service when the pandemic hit, and they did. But they paused it. But now they like started back up again and have been like charged $22 a month for it, as it were. So I gotta like cancel it. They didn't make it easy for me to cancel it. I'm going to have to like just like email customer service to get a phone number to call so I can like cancel it over the phone. They make it really hard to like just cancel services because they don't want you to cancel services, as were. So it's like so Spotify have like a bunch of people just not canceling, as were, not that it crashed their server for their app, as were, makes total sense. But you can like, having like that function be available on the website, as well, because it's on a different thing, makes sense too, as well.
Wow. So, the number of unaccompanied migrant children detained along the southern border has tripled in the last 2 weeks.
Joe, I've not tried to quit a gym because I didn't sign up for one.
I've quit gyms multiple times. It's easy. I just signed up to a new gym, for example. You just go in and say, "Hey, I want to leave," and they say, "Why?" And it's like, "Because you don't have the equipment I want."
I mean, honestly, if I want to, there's actually a gym here at the apartments that they provide. They do close the doors.
The gyms at apartments are always crap. It's like a single cable machine, a treadmill, and a bike. Sure. That's usually it.
That's actually about it too. I mean, and it also is office hours too. So when the office is closed, so the thing is closed. You can get a key, but it's like $20 for it, as well. So it's like, I haven't got it. Yeah, I have. Even if I did get it, I wouldn't be using it. So it's a good thing I haven't like this. But it's just one time $20. So, but like haven't used it too. And. Like, I mean, if it's like they'll ask you why they're quitting, which is always the thing. They'll ask you why, and it's just.
Is there anything we can do to change your mind? Yeah, get a whole lot more free weights. The fuck you think? You're gonna really spend $500 to keep one member? No, you're not. So I'm gonna walk out the door.
Yeah. I think I have Spotify on my phone to download it just because, but like I haven't used it at all because like the last time I listened, the times I do listen to music is actually YouTube music because I actually do get YouTube Premium to get rid of the app. The main. The main function, the reason I have YouTube Premium is so that I can like listen to like YouTube videos as we're in the background, so I can minimize the app and the YouTube video will still be playing, which is an excellent way for me to listen to the audiobooks that are available on YouTube. That like I actually found a couple of like YouTube channels that like just do audiobooks essentially, or have like links to audiobooks that I can listen to. So because I have YouTube Premium, I can get the music from like YouTube without the ads too. And like I really just like choose my own music. Yeah, I can like shuffle up. Oh, why do I want to listen to like other music I never heard of? So honestly, people have to recommend for me to check out music for me to actually be listening to it. But like the only other service I used to listen to music in the past, and this was years ago, was Pandora. But the first time I listened to Pandora, I think I was listening to the heavy metal channel. Heavy metal was where. So yep, get Metallica. Okay, it makes sense. Acid Change. Okay, no, I not too far off. I think I can understand that there. But one thing the would be go, Pandora, what are you thinking? Is when in the heavy metal channel, Third Eye Blind's Never Let You Go.
That is a very heavy song.
And so top 40 is like, because it's guitars, it's heavy metal, and according to Pandora, it's just like I didn't want to throw my phone across the room because I was at work, but it's just like I don't know. So anyway, what other news has there been?
I can't think of anything. Of course, I'm still way behind on my podcast, so I'm aware of news that's like 2 weeks out of date.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
A high-ranking officer in the military, can't remember which branch, I think it's Army, pushed for the military to do battlefield acupuncture.
What? Why?
Because when you're wounded on the battlefield, you need immediate medical care.
And that's not acupuncture, though.
It's really not.
If I'm like bleeding out, I don't want somebody to stick a needle in me. What the hell?
No.
Well, specifically, it's just limited to your ears. Because it's a form of acupuncture that is what's called homunculus theory, where a part of the body is said to represent the whole. So they can stick needles in your ears, and that will cure various parts of your body. So I can't remember the details. I think he got got the Army to approve like 20 battlefield acupuncturists.
Oh my God!
The only time
I believe he owns a stake. He got them to do this by pointing to an article published in a journal that he owns. I think there was some conflict of interest going on with his work there.
Anyway, before we forget, we should thank our patrons. Thank you to Flora, Marty, who's joined us in chat. Hi, Marty. Italy, Joe, of course, is also in the chat too. The fuck boys of like me and like Mehmet, as we're Mehmet, who's like already fallen asleep, so Mehmet's not be able to join us. Tim and Vonrek. Remember, be gay and do crime. I think that's everyone, unless we got like a new patron that hasn't like joined the like scrolling text, as it were. Because you gave us money for this. You gave us money for this. Me eating a burrito on camera.
You could start an OnlyFans with that, to be honest.
No, that's right. I bet there would be someone to do it.
A lot of people are really into vor. Just saying.
When I learned about like the word vor, I was just like, oh my God. Is that why I was like, okay, when I occasionally see that in like some of my hentai, as it were, just not just like increasing a woman's belly for some reason, as it were, I was just like, no, I'm not interested. Why? What's with the enemas? Why do you any kind of kink can be shown in hentai, as it were, and it's just like, again, I want consenting adults.
Every kind of kink is shown in hentai.
Yeah, it is.
Here we go. Let's see. Battlefield acupuncture, an emerging and promising alternative to risky pain medications, from blogs.va.gov. Western medicine was great for helping these patients, but had its failures. BFA originator and retired Air Force Colonel Dr. Richard Nimzo wrote in an essay in the journal Medical Acupuncture. This is horseshit.
Yeah, it's just like
humans are so full of biases that we are ridiculous. We are just ridiculous.
When it comes to being reasonable, rational people, we don't. We don't be that.
Yeah, it's like rule of thumb is like yeah, we just don't. It's the word.
Oh God, we have to work so hard just to try to question our own like most closely held beliefs. And trying to get somebody else to do it, that's like impossible.
That's weirdly one of the only reasons that the scientific method has worked is because of that the 1495 trifecta, call it: printing press, movable type, cheap paper. Suddenly, instead of one person alone in a tower going further and further down a rabbit hole, you have lots of people talking to each other and pointing out one another's mistakes. Being able to find out what's wrong is very helpful.
Yeah, even though like Johann Gutenberg, who came up with the movable type, is credited with that, printed a lot of Bibles, one of the first books, something like that. That spreading that information far and wide, as it were, what eventually led to the Lutheran revolution, as it were. Martin Luther said, "Okay, here's what you got everything wrong. I got a list here. Catholic Church."
Yeah. The earliest, the reason the printing press really took off was because of pamphlets like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Martin Luther was basically the Donald Trump of pamphlets.
Yeah,
and he just mastered this new technology, and really he didn't really necessarily come up with anything new. It's just that printing and communication pointed out that the Catholic Church was already severely divided. The Irish Catholics were different from the German Catholics, different from the Italian Catholics, and so on. And thus, when you find out that everybody believes different shit, it just made it easy for everything to fall apart.
I mean, the Christianity has skipped us all the way back to the Roman Empire, as it were, which is
Christianity has never been unified ever. It started as multiple religions and multiple religions.
Exactly. It's so honestly, any leftists that say we need left unity, we need something. Okay, listen, coalition, sure, for a particular task or whatever, or a big tent on a particular issue, sure, that can be done. Left unity as a whole, no. Look at Christianity. It's just, again, over 400 variants of leftists they are, and do they all get along with each other? You can call it pettiness, as it were, but no, some
that's because of the culture of hyper individualization, though. That it's encultured, and if you look in other cultures that have a far stronger community aspect to them, their philosophies will be different. The way they raise their kids are different. The benefits of having community are immense. I mean, and readily apparent. See, that's the funnest thing about that. Even in a community like that, the sex is better. I mean, when you've got a strong, supportive community, it's one of the most freeing things for human beings. It's you get to anarchy. You can't get there through hyper individualization. You can't get to communism through hyper individualization. That hyper individualization has us all so divided that we can't get together and even talk about left unity without people bringing up all kinds of different philosophers. This person is a Leninist, that person's a Stalinist, this other person is a Trotskyist.
No, according to my dad, all communism is Stalinism.
And then you have people like that, and then how do you talk to them?
Mostly I don't. He's 75.
Yeah. You know what, I just saw someone commenting on my Facebook post, and I think it's important to bring up the nuances or too. It's like, well, yes, the MCU has a prominent aspects of it being propaganda as it were, and there's military
They even
propaganda.
turned Spider-Man into a cop.
Right. You can still enjoy this sort of thing. We shouldn't say this all to make people feel bad for enjoying.
I put the title up, and I'm in the middle of rewatching the entire MCU. So
yeah, exactly. It's like because friend is saying that we should put a counter about that. Pointing out at one point how making people feel bad for being fans of problematic media is not only aimless but potentially dangerously and life-threatening, as it were. Yeah, that is a good point, as it were, because it's just well, like as Joey said, if she was if she had stop being a fan of anything that's produced by a asshole of any kind, or have prominent stuff into it, she wouldn't have watched any media or listened to any media whatsoever, because chances are just find it, you will find either person's an asshole for what they do, or that the media really has prominent aspects of it as were. Hell, My Little Pony, Friendship's Magic, I still love that show. It's just it has Nazi fans because it's liberalism that's not critical of its own liberal biases were, and the pony supremacy in that show as were. There are probably still people who are fans of Attack on Titan, even though it's just this really terrible
eventually I will go back and watch Buffy again.
Yes, exactly.
Despite the fact that Joss Whedon is apparently a piece of shit to such a degree that there's a rule: Joss isn't allowed alone in a room with Michelle. Who was 14 at the time. Yeah, sure. Come on, Marty.
Okay, I'll give the link to Marty after as well to do. Marty, you'll get I'll probably give it to you on Twitter, or as it were, or I know the DMs on Discord as well. I'll give it to you in multiple places, and then I will
don't make it dirty, find one family friendly.
Multiple places. There you are. Oh, first message between you and I in Discord. Huh. But
is that you also requesting to come on, Phoenix?
Phoenix, you have the I hate how Phoenixes are treated. Phoenixes are treated like pets in My Little Pony Friendship's Magic, and the same as in she loves My Little Pony Friendship's Magic, even though it has prominent aspects of the pony supremacy, as it were, or how animals are treated in that show too.
Gotta be honest, the only good magical horse thing is the anarchist magical horse thing,
and she
from. Yes.
The Alicorn Swiftwind.
Yes. Let's talk about our favorite things.
Apples toppling on just hierarchies. Apples. Wait, the loop-de-loops. Apples. Wait a minute, I already said apples. And things.
It was when you said same. I thought you requested to come on same as Marty. Instead of saying same, you feel ways about My Little Pony.
But things, if you
want to come on, feel free. You're always welcome.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come on. You have to link to.
Should still be in the group chat on Facebook.
They should still be in group. Yes, exactly.
But no pressure. If you don't feel like coming on or anything, then you don't have to.
Let's see, where was I? Where were we going? What's happening? Wait. Oh, speaking of media, as we're in the importance of as where I go through Christiosity's a timeline, and this is major news as it were, that a Tennessee school board banned the Pulitzer Prize winning book about the Holocaust, Mouse.
Because apparently it has nudity in it? Or is it because they're anti-Semites who want to pretend the Holocaust never happened?
And there's cuss words. There's cuss words and nudity.
Cartoon nudity of mice. Let's be clear on that one.
Cartoon nudity of mice and a cussing mouse.
Mm.
And it got banned because kids can't handle that in between their, shooter drills.
Yes, exactly. That was not. We did have like once every 3 years essentially a shooter drill. Now it's probably as often as a fire drill, as it were, because unfortunately that's where we live in, as it were.
Let's be honest. Kids are more likely to experience an active shooter than they are a fire.
Yeah, that is like a very real possibility. But like this Tennessee school board, it feels like they have. Honestly, that's their excuse for like banning the book about the Holocaust, as it were. It might be that they really like don't know anything, as it were, but like, or just like really trying to be like really protective when they're like going, they're failing at it, as it were. But I'm just going to like.
Okay, here's a red flag for you. I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen. You'll be able to see it on the YouTube in about 30 seconds. From Yup, That Exists. Company creates world's manliest soap. It looks exactly like a bunch of nuts and bolts. And a girl named Benjamin Carollo, with the trans flag in the middle of her name, says, literally no one demands as much gender affirmation as cis men.
And, it's true, though.
And then Ian Cromwell, apparently his tweet has been deleted, says, if a guy has these in his shower, he's nuts, and you should bolt. But, I mean, it's just like, men won't use toilet paper because they're afraid that touching their butt makes them gay.
Yes. They also like I think it's gay to be dating girls
or having children with a woman.
It's gay to scrub your ass. Like they walk around with crusty asses because they're homophobic. What the hell? What the hell?
They see Daniel Craig, the guy who played James Bond, carrying his son. They say, "Oh no, James Bond is manly. He doesn't take care of children."
Yeah,
fellas, is it gay to have kids?
The James Bond's so manly, he hits women and like rapes the lesbian into being straight. That happened. Yep. That happened in Goldfinger. What else is so that was the major news about like and there was there other
has anyone been playing Wordle? Apparently it's very popular.
Is that one of those mobile apps games, as it were?
No, it's a browser game. It's like Mastermind except with letters.
That would be a no.
No, I'm playing Stream Raiders because I don't know what I'm doing playing Stream Raiders. Because I ain't even watching the streams that like the streamer.
I am dyslexic, and I found out that those word games are actually kind of shitty for me.
Yeah, you were mentioning like with all the letters like jumbled together, makes it like easier for someone who's dyslexic to be able to like see the words and then put it in there. But like, if I don't know how to spell those fucking words, I'm gonna be like, my strategy with selling those games, frequently guess. If I can frequently guess on those like video games version of word games, I'm going to frequently guess because like hell if I know how to spell a word or something like that. And sometimes they'll be like, what? I was able that word work? How did that work?
Well, and then it gives me anxiety to fuck up because I've got this lifelong trauma from trying to spell. Like
does that also is something that like General Brockman mentioned to me before we went on live, because there is like a site to help those who are dyslexic.
People have been trying to help, and there is a place called dyslexifont.com We both shared it. That they changed the weighting on the letters to try and make them more easily distinguishable. Because judging by the front page of their website, part of the problem is that the letters can be easily reversed and flipped around to look exactly the same. And then what they have is B becomes D, becomes P, becomes Q / G.
Yeah, it is kind of like it really easy to do that for me. But it's like many people's like word blindness is where like affects people differently in different ways. My word blindness, like it kind of like affects my spelling as a word. And for me, I need to visually see the word as a word, but then I need someone else that I can trust to be able to pronounce the word, and so I can like have the visual memory of that word, and then I need the audio memory of that word. I need to connect the two together, because if I one of the other, I can't like know how a word is pronounced based on the spelling, or know how the word is spelled based on how it sounds. I cannot sound out a word as word, especially when like in English you have like fucking silent P's and all these other things.
No shit.
Hello, Marty.
Hello. So
Hi, Marty.
I have a theory.
Okay.
Is it a demon?
Probably. It is a demon inside of all of us. Well, not all of us, but a lot of us. You guys were talking about men being homophobic
Sensitive.
when it comes homophobic when it comes to certain things. So I'm saving this for my comedy routine that I plan on doing. But there's this thing like cis men tend to have this idea that they have magic piss. And because they can stand up and that stream will not go anywhere except the toilet. It won't go on the floor. It won't go on their feet.
Splashing never happens, nor does sprinkling.
Never. It is straight. It's a straight line. But that
at first, I thought you were going to say that it like has magical curative properties, unless they want to spread it as far and wide as possible.
Golden showers.
Well,
therapy.
There are people that think that it cures COVID, but they've moved on to cow poop now.
God damn.
Have they seriously?
Eating manure to own the libs? I'd heard about the piss. I had not heard about the cow shit.
Yes. Well, and that like they will do anything but take the fucking jab.
Anything but get the vaccine. What
well,
kind
everyone
of
knows getting a little prick in you makes you gay.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because my theory is that I think that most people socialized and we'll just say cis males are bisexual in nature. Now hold on. That they're creatures of opportunity, and that because you never will have cis women going, I'm not going to talk to somebody in the bathroom because they might think I'm gay.
That is
true.
That's a thing amongst like cis.
I think cis men are just incredibly, ridiculously, horrifically insecure.
Yes, they do.
I actually think that if they admitted that they have feelings for someone of their own gender, they would literally just go fucking nuts and not be able to control themselves. And it's like that whole thing with people will say, well, if I wasn't a Christian, I would kill everyone. And it's like
that's a terrifying admission. You should be locked up.
Yes,
right. Exactly. How are you?
You're not saying what you think you're saying, friend.
As if you what's preventing you from like killing everyone is your faith in God or like punishment of God, and that's what I believe. That's the only thing. And you ask me what's to prevent me. Listen, again, I kill and rape as much as I want to without God, which is zero. The fact that you want to and you need like God to punish you in order to stop you to do that says more about you than it does about like me.
But like people that won't wash their own asses because that might turn them
might
gay.
Catch the gay.
How close are you to that actually happening? You have to be like almost there. You know,
you're not saying what think you are saying.
I was just going about my day, and someone just like said hi to me in a bathroom, and I just was sucking their dick. I don't know how that happened.
You tripped, you fell.
It was an accident.
You open your mouth to call for help, and suddenly there's a dick in your mouth. What are you gonna do?
I mean, his penis was out, so if the penis is out, the mouth must be on it. That's a word. What, you don't think that way too? That's where my mind always goes.
And remember, you're not allowed to shake your dick too many times after you piss, otherwise you're just jacking off in a men's room.
Well, just don't tap your feet.
Oh, that's right. The wide stance is like, I forgot the senator's name, but he was from Idaho, as it were.
No, Minnesota.
He was at the Minnesota airport. That's where the hookup happened.
That's where he got arrested.
Yes, that's where he got arrested. But where he's actually like his constituency, he's the senator for, is Idaho, as it were, because he even
the toe tapper.
The toe tapper, as like I forgot his name, because he was like said repeatedly, "I'm not gay. I've not been gay." And he
Ted Haggard is completely heterosexual. Ted Haggard is completely heterosexual.
He even said like, "I wouldn't go around hitting on men, and by God, if I do, I wouldn't do it in Boise, Idaho." It's just like, what does that say about your constituents? Really, you're throwing your constituents under the bus because there's not attractive like men in Boise, Idaho? Maybe that's the case.
That's the Larry Craig scandal.
The Larry Craig, yeah.
He was
and
the Republican
guess.
United States Senator from Idaho, arrested for lewd conduct in a men's restroom at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport.
Mm-hmm. Let me guess. You Googled toe tapper.
No, I just said Senator Gay arrest.
I mean, we already have plenty of politicians like sending like lewd photos to people they really shouldn't, as it were, like Anthony Weiner and his boner.
We also have somebody paying underage women for sex.
Oh yeah, Matt
Gaetz. And we have lots and lots of people flying to a private island to do the same.
Yes. Oh, Bill Clinton, Bush, Trump, a whole list of people. Yes, a whole list of people on the Epstein plane is where I just listened to Behind the Bastards.
Oh, that's news. What's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell filed for a mistrial because one of the jurors failed to disclose a history of sexual abuse. That was part of the questionnaire. Lawyers have peremptory challenges. They're allowed to say, no, I don't want anybody on the jury with a history of sexual abuse during a trial about serial sexual abuse. And since he didn't, and then he used that in the trial, they filed a motion. I don't know how that motion's gone. But the worst that can happen is that Ghislaine gets a new trial.
Okay. It's just like... That's still like these people should be like punished, or but like it, like Mithra said, like yes, she was like sentenced as it were, but like Mithra predicted like she's only going to get 6 years at most as it were, because if you're rich and powerful, you can just do a lot of terrible things as it were.
I just wonder how long it's going to be until she meets her maker in prison, because I think that's what's going to happen.
I have heard about.
Yeah,
I mean, she might accidentally. She might trip and fall down a set of stairs and kick herself in the ass 20 times.
Yeah, well, when you know somebody's secrets to that extent, I don't know how you could be safe.
Well, the thing is, apparently Epstein was in the habit of recording this shit, which means the feds already have those secrets, so there's no use in killing her. All it would do is, add a murder charge to your thing. I think Epstein actually did kill himself, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I think he did too. I mean, but that being said, I think he did it for a very good reason. He knew he was going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Or
it was
worse.
A massive fall from grace. I'm sure it was a huge shock to his psyche. So, one minute he's rich and partying with billionaires and having sex with children. The next minute he's in prison facing a lifetime of horror and abuse for having sex with children.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
because they can't let a person like that out in Gen Pop.
It was a point that Robert Evans bring up that they were just in it was definitely children that he was raping and pimping out, as it were, because they were young, as it were, but it was sold as just young attractive girls, as it were, but still terrible, as it were. That's not to
they were trafficked, they were abused, they were frequently poor and desperate. It's just the most Dickensian shit you can imagine.
Yeah.
By the way, can I just say that I think Behind the Bastards / it can happen here. That whole podcast series is one of the most communist podcast series, most popular communist podcast series out there right now. Openly. And I'm kind of shocked that iHeartRadio has
mainstreams it.
I mean, it's shocking.
I mean, Robert Evans is willing to sell ads. So but what's interesting that the reason why Robert Evans, he was in the position to be able to sell ads because he worked at Crack.com, but he also was a journalist too, and still does journalist reporting as well for Bellcat, as it were, which is a open source co-op a journalist source, as it were, journalist side. When he was covering the Build the Wall sort of thing, the reason why he doesn't do a Patreon like other podcasts do is something like that is because he doesn't want people to I only have this much money, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm willing to give you $10 because I like your podcast that much. He just hates that pressure of someone who very little money giving him $1, something like that, which is why he does the ad things and makes fun of the ads with terrible ad breaks, as it were. Who's not going to genocide people in Syria and other places?
The trees.
Well, Raytheon will sell you missiles for absolutely sure, and something like that. And Blackwater will do terrible things too, and they might advertise on the show.
The Washington State Police,
the Washington State Patrol, they'd advertise on Behind the Bastards, and it could happen here. Then they covered the Washington State Patrol. It's just can we find?
Thanks for the money, I guess.
But I'm just shocked that something that has that level of, because
openly leftist sentiment.
Oh yeah, is platformed to such a high level, and I find I'm sending as many people as I can that way that are the what I would call the quote normies, because I think it's a gateway drug, to be honest with you. This is something that everybody knows is coming. That capitalism can't continue on the way it is. And that reality, things have to change. And when people hear that, I think for me, because my history is before I transitioned, I was cishet appearing white man from Indiana. And
now you're a black trans woman, right? I'm kidding.
No, don't call me Terry Gilliam, I think is his name.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. He did say that, and then he.
Oh,
he's a black lesbian.
Yeah, he did. He said that
he self-identifies as a black
lesbian. Why is it
lesbian.
that all the surviving members of Monty Python turned into assholes?
I'm waiting on Eric Idle and Michael Palin as it were, and Graham Chancellor died, so it's like I guess he like escaped that.
Well, he was the gay man. Yep.
Yeah, he was the gay man. Yes, exactly.
at least he can't be soiled. You know,
He's in the soil, so he can't be soiled.
Exactly. I did want to say too that something that's blown my mind recently, because I've been on TikTok a lot. There's been guys that are talking about what do you call them? They're the guys that do the dating coaches,
pickup artists.
Yes. Yep. Yes. There's been a lot of guys. There's this one that's like talking about you don't want a woman with a used vagina. And a lot of these guys are getting a lot of
but
rage
they're
farming.
all used. By virtue of having them, you use them. I mean that, like, I don't even understand. Oh, okay. He means like with a dick.
Yes.
Yeah. Only it's not real unless it's a
penis.
Well,
and it has to be a penis, though.
I found a really good song. It's from a group.
Snowflake working for the deep state.
No, it's actually talks about Jesus and not having vaginal sex, but having anal sex instead, keeping yourself holy.
Oh, let's see. Is that by Gooch and someone?
I think it was Oates and Garfunkel.
Yes, Garfunkel and Oates. She played a girl named Gooch on Scrubs. One of the smaller
okay.
It's an absolutely brilliant
Put
song,
it in your ass because you love. Put it in my ass because I love Jesus.
When I'm kind of on hiatus because I had surgery about a week and a half ago, but when the show comes back, I'm definitely going to take sound effects from that song. But that being said, one of the things that's always blown my mind is I know from cis beauty standards that, you know, I really don't hit that high bar. But here's the thing, whether I was transitioned or not, I've never had a problem getting a partner. Why is it these guys have such a hard time actually having someone find them interesting or good enough to be around them?
Because they're not good enough to be around them.
Exactly.
It's like
they think of women as objects to be used. They have no personalities of their own. They're vile pieces of shit.
Women don't have to go with men anymore. It's not a requirement anymore. You can get a job, you can own your own shit. Like, you don't have to be with the dude. And so dudes have to step up their game. They have to actually be desirable.
There's a book. I'll go quickly mention there's a book I've been meaning to read. It's like women have like better sex under socialism just for that reason, as it were, when they're like free of the capitalist system, as it were, that they have more choices, as it were, and don't need a man to like provide for them. Marty, to your point.
Well, no, these guys reminds me of like Tony Robbins. You know, they get rich by selling this formula. The formula doesn't fucking work, but what gets them rich is selling the formula, not the formula itself.
Well, and I think it also the sales help because for a long time there will be a hefty portion, because we live in a patriarchy, we live with all this misogyny around us, and that goes into women just as much as it does men. And so there's a lot of women who are fooled, and they'll date these guys initially, then later on divorce them, and then try to warn young women. I mean, it's a pattern. It's a pattern that I see.
Or they just live with it for the rest of their lives, and they become first lady of the United States.
Exactly.
Money, I'm talking
but that's I hate to say this, but I've met people, and I think they're probably like me, they're bisexual, but I've met a lot of women that have not been with men specifically because they're shitheads.
Oh yeah, that's what that's one of the things that I typically say is that it's obvious that being gay is not a choice, and the reason is because
the existence
women
of straight women.
Exactly. Like there would not be straight if it was a choice.
Wanting to have sex with men is a flaw frequently found among women. Yeah.
It's like
I just they come off like, oh, there's this secret formula, if you just tell women there's
neuro-linguistic programming.
It's like
messaging.
Remember, the first thing you got to do is give them a subtle insult.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
I really love the glasses. They really distract from the eyebrow problem.
Send me 100,000 pounds. I'll tell you the secret. And then when they send me the money, I'll just say, don't be a dick.
Wait a minute. I heard about this secret before. Is this the same secret about how to get rich quick? Because I also seen infomercials for that secret too.
Are you talking about the thing from Oprah?
Oh, I heard that secret too. There was a book about that too. Oh, it's like all self-help right there.
I just want to write a book and like 300 pages of don't be a dick, don't be a dick, don't be a dick, don't be a dick.
12 rules of life.
Rule number 1, don't be a dick. Rule number 2, don't be a dick to men. Rule number 3, don't be a dick to women. Rule number 4, don't be a dick to straight people. Rule number 5.
I have a T-shirt of like Jesus says don't be a dick. And my Aunt Glenda's great Aunt Glenda, who's sadly passed away, but she was old. I love her reaction to it. Have you all heard the story?
She was
before?
offended.
Okay, I'll tell the story. It's like my dad I didn't bring the T-shirt with me. It was a family reunion. I was in high school at the time, so this is how long ago it was. And like,
did you write a story? Did you write a song about that?
No, I haven't.
Go.
But like so I wore the shirt with calligraphy letters, like biblical letters, Jesus says, and a cartoon Jesus saying but like my hair was covering up the word bubble, as it were. So my aunt is like, oh, what does that say? And then I pull back my hair and it says don't be a dick, and my aunt just goes, oh my. And my dad was embarrassed and like, I wish he didn't bring the shirt, but he brought the shirt. But then my aunt said, oh no, I don't have a problem with the sentiment, I have a problem with the language. I wish you had said don't be a jerk or anything like that. And it's just like, my Aunt Glenda's awesome.
Well, I don't know, she's probably would have been, well, his language was crude, but he wasn't actually saying he would assault women.
I just realized I could do this book, and instead of saying it that many times, I could just have the first page say don't be a dick, have an introduction, and then say don't be a dick, and then for the remaining 299 pages, it just be footnotes of examples of how not to be a dick.
Don't be a dick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You can people have like taken like their social media posts and blog posts and turned them into books. So this can be a blog, as it were, like introductions of how to not be a dick, and then just like
this is an example of being a dick. Don't be a dick.
Well, and see, I think part of the issue is that these guys don't actually know what that means. Mm-hmm. Like in their head, they're not being a dick.
Mm-hmm. They're more concerned.
In fact, most of them are calling themselves nice guys.
Nice guys, yeah.
So you've never met me before, but I want to like make sure that you know that like I'm a very nice guy. Several people said have like how nice this guy is. Like you've never met me, but I want you to know that I am a nice guy. It's like that's almost
okay. There's our first rule. Never say you're a nice guy.
Saying you're a nice guy is actually fairly strong evidence that no, you're not.
Instead of saying it so much, try to figure out what other people mean when they say it. I think that's what they miss in their lives. They're not understanding when other people say what's nice, what's kind, what is considerate.
See,
They're
buying the
missing
person the
things.
thing isn't the nice part. The thinking of the other person is the nice part.
Yes.
Well, and 99% of problems in the world have to do with people thinking that they have a corner on whatever the question is, that they have the answer, the only answer to it. And like, I mean, I know they've done studies about cognitive bias and you know, all that stuff, but Jesus Christ, I mean, just open your mind just a tiny bit and like at least listen to what other people are saying. You don't have to fucking agree, but some of the best.
Well, they should. I'm awesome. Everyone should agree.
Well, you know, some of the best advice that I ever got was when we were all sitting around getting drunk and we were having debates about certain things. I mean, I was at a party and bombed off my ass, and we were having a debate about abortion, and this girl literally well, not literally, but my guts were laying on the floor, metaphorically. She eviscerated me, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because I learned.
Because you have a reverse bore fetish.
Yes, that I learned that as well. But
I haven't seen that in hentai.
yet. What is that? Rule
Japanese
43 or 34?
It was unpleasant.
Okay.
Now that you've mentioned it, you're gonna see it.
Eventually I will.
See, there is a rule. What is it? Rule
34. There is porn of it.
See, but there's not. I've always been able to prove that that's not the case, because I had an ex that was into bleach.
Ugh.
Okay, there's the anime bleach, but
that is like
chemical cleaning.
That is super bad for you.
like she would clean beforehand, like the entire place that we were going to have activities, and
it would smell very strongly of bleach.
Oh my God, yes. And either that or she wanted it on her skin. And yeah.
Okay.
But I've never seen porn of it ever, and I've searched. It's in my search history.
Which again, I want my internet search history on my tombstone. I want a computer embedded in the tombstone. I want people to be uncomfortable. Make it weird.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yes, Bestro. Of course, I talk to myself. I sometimes need expert opinion. In the Beast Wars cartoon series from the 90s, this is where Megatron is like, oh, that would work perfectly. Yes. And Black Lantern goes, why are you always talking to yourself? I just enjoy having intelligent conversations.
I didn't know Megatron was Huckleberry Hound.
Probably same voice actor, to be honest. I just remembered something that was like kind of neat, as it were, because do you know at the brief period that people were like memeing of Tifa Lockhart from like Final Fantasy VII as like their Italian senator? Okay, so at the parliamentary meeting in the Italian Senate, as it were, on a Zoom call, because like COVID, it's like social distancing and telework and all that stuff, senator did not realize that like what they had on their screen and something like that.
They accidentally played 30 seconds of Tifa porn.
Yes, but what's worth for it is like this was broadcast on like an Italy C-SPAN, as it were. So like for 30 seconds, all of Italy got that were watching their politics at channel at that time, as it were, because like Senate parliamentarism happened, saw 30 seconds of like a
it wasn't played by the Italian senator. It was somebody hacked the meeting.
Okay, so that's what they like.
A user named Alex Spence broke into the call and started broadcasting hentai.
Oh, so I heard differently. I heard that like the Italian, I heard that that's what they're blaming it on.
The Italian senator is not Alex Jones keeping a tab of porn open.
But what's the wholesome? Even though this is the internet, and we're just talking about Rule 34 too, but the memes that came out of it was just people, Italians, like proudly saying that Tifa is their Italian senator, as it were. So nothing.
It doesn't say
explicit.
which video it was though.
I've seen some clips of I've seen like memes, images as it were, like memes where so like it's just a particular one where it's just like Tifa is on the bed on their side and it's like what's the her legs are in like L position as it were, like capital L.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I was listening to a guy on TikTok. His name is Mr. Hamilton, and he was talking about internet things that he saw that kind of basically changed him forever, and maybe not in a good way. And Two Girls, One Cup was that thing for him. And I'm just wondering, what do you guys think was it for you? What was that thing in your childhood that you probably shouldn't have seen, that you saw it way too early? For me, I think it was Faces of Death, the movie.
Oh,
I was probably we were sitting there eating fries with ketchup and watching that at I think I was probably about 12.
I can't think of anything that I saw way too young.
I
may have stumbled on this tape my parents made, but
Joe, you saw someone died in front of you. Wow.
Yeah, when I was 5, he got
really.
I was at we're at the family house, and I was at the fence, and I liked to stand on this wooden box and look over the fence and watch traffic go by. It was a privacy fence.
Okay.
And this guy was coming up, and he was on a bicycle, and he saw me standing there, saw that I had a watch on. And so he asked me in Spanish what time it was. I did not speak Spanish, but I could tell he was asking me what time it was because he was tapping his wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I showed him my watch. And he looked at the time, and he said what I assumed was thank you. And then he got on his bike, and he looked both ways, and then he went to go cross the street. And the next thing I heard was tire screeches, and then I saw this woman, or the car, I didn't know who was driving yet, hit him, and he went flying, and his head hit the asphalt, and it popped like a melon, and his brains went all over the place. And I was 5.
Wow.
And it happened like right in front of me. I had to be a witness for the police because a woman got out of her car. She was all freaked out. She was saying stuff. And then she said, well, at least it's just some beaner.
Ooh.
Wow.
And so I told the cop, and the cop, his was Officer Rodriguez.
Oops.
So and the woman reeked of wine.
Oh.
So, and she didn't know that there was a witness at first.
Oh.
She did not know that I was standing right there and saw the whole thing. She had no idea. And she got on her big giant, because at the time they had cell phones. They had mobile, they called them mobile phones, but they were these giant freaking things.
A brick.
Yeah. And it was like on a suitcase thing, and you plugged it into your car, into your lighter,
cigarette lighter. Yeah.
And she got on the phone because she was a very rich lady. You could tell by her car and the fact that she had a mobile phone. And she got on the phone and she called somebody I assumed was either a spouse or a best friend. And she was saying things to them about how she was on her way to the liquor store. No, she didn't get there. She was on her way. And she hit somebody, and what should she do now? And she's been drinking. She admitted it on the phone. After all of this, she still had not seen me there. So I ended up having to tell the officer all of this stuff. And my dad was trying to help me, but I don't know. I guess that was just watching that guy die. It played over and over and over in my head for, God, I can't remember how many years. 5,
Yeah,
6 years.
Understandable. I mean, I was thinking more like in internet, well, not internet, but like popular culture, because I mean,
Lemon Party, Blue Waffle,
or something like Basic Instinct when you were like 12 or something like that.
Are you telling us something, Jonathan?
No, I don't know if because like for movies, even my mom did not want me to see like Indiana Jones and the Lost Temple or live.
But it's never the ones your parents think that are going to be bad for you that are bad for you.
I probably shouldn't have seen Godzilla as a toddler, because as I've gotten older, I always root for the creature. But that's what the Godzilla movie is.
If your parents actually cared about making sure you weren't exposed to anything harmful, they wouldn't take you to church.
No, yeah, that's a good point. That's the word.
And I'm not just talking about.
Yeah, there's some
I'm also talking about
stuff in that book.
Oh yeah, the terrible things that.
Just the book, like in the book, like just reading it, like there's some horrific shit in there.
So we were having a conversation.
Go ahead.
We were having a conversation about the Red Scare because somebody was saying that was traumatic for you, and I was like, tell me you didn't grow up in the 80s without telling me you didn't grow up in the 80s. Because literally I had a mother that fed me like what do you call it, like end of the world Armageddon type of Christian apologetics, and add that onto that, the Red Scare stuff. Oh my God,
that would be freaky. That is an anxiety-filled childhood right there.
Oh,
the Russians.
And now you understand the existence of the boomer.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The Russians are coming. Plus, you're going to hell when the bombs blow up. I mean,
yep.
And also everything you love about yourself is evil and wrong. Because
it's inevitable that this is going to happen because God willed it.
Yeah. God loves you so much.
Also, this is all your fault.
Yep, I'm Catholic. I can definitely speak to that. That was
because you touched yourself.
That was
everything you do makes baby Jesus cry.
So unfortunately,
we did manage to lighten it up a little bit. I was worried we were going to end on a real downer note there.
Quickly going to plug the plugs and plug the things.
What are you plugging?
Joy Fire Lame Deers like a Patreon. Just put the link to Joy Fire Lame Deers like
There's
Patreon
right
there in the
Be
chat.
Careful.
No, as it were.
It hurts very much, Daddy.
Oh, now that's just low-hanging fruit, that one.
And there's also partypodcast.com. That's the link to the Marty F. Nancy link tree for her links, as were Patreon, TikTok, Twitter, the show, the RSS.
Did you say podcast.com?
The teapartypodcast.com.
Okay, thank you very much.
because Tea Party is something else entirely, as it were, and so teapartypodcast.com, that will get you to Marty F. Nancy's.
And then there's teabaggingparty.com.
And then there's Lemon Party. There's just so much.
That's something else entirely as well. And of course, I'm Summer Random Geek on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube as well. And don't forget charitylinks.page, which is also down in the below in the doobly doo as well. And John, you're probably from another podcast, aren't you?
Dungeons and Debacles. We are totally different from this. Dungeons and Dragons.
Do you do a lot of debacling?
We have changed parties twice now. Because of betrayals, so I would say yes. We started out as a good party, then we had to switch to an evil party, then we had to switch back to a good party. So yeah, plenty of debacles.
All I know about Dungeons and Dragons I learned from watching Stranger Things. How sad is that?
That is pretty sad.
There's also
because that is like 1985 or 1978, whatever. It's very Gygax, Ian. It's a brand of D&D that's rough around the edges.
Well, there's the downside of I was interested in it, and then Christy Winters decided she was going to play it, and then I thought, nah, I don't want to learn about it.
But anyway, thank you everyone for coming around. Thank you, Joey, for joining us as always, and thank you, Marty, for joining us as well. We should do this again. We'll be back next Sunday around. Next Sunday. Take care. Practice self-care.
Bye, everybody.
Dedicate. Masturbate.
Haters, comrades.
Hydrate.
Dedicate. Masturbate.
All in that order.
Yes.